The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas Stanley and William Danko. Welcome to my channel. My name is Samuel and I want to make self-growth normal. If you want to make self-growth normal, because I don't want to do it alone. Who doesn't want to make self-growth normal? Then make sure to smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It helps with ranking and SEO and all this other stuff, and I really appreciate it because so much work goes into making these videos. The authors notice that the richest people do not buy expensive cars or expensive jewelry and expensive clothing. I don't know if I think this is as true as it was when the book was written, about a year before I was born, 1996. This, or really that much else I talk about in the book, entirely. But it seems like people do typically, just like mostly have it all wrong about wealth. So the authors spent years figuring out why. And that's what this book is about. There are 7 common factors, denominators, about how people accumulate wealth, and I think there's a chapter for each one, so let's talk about those. By the way, I'm gonna drop some philosophy for my fellow big thinkers, not big thinkers, but big thinkers, on what to look out for in this book. Because there are a couple huge dangers, in my opinion. Mine and a hero of mine, Grant Cardone, he hates this book a lot. And I think I know why. And I strongly agree with his reasoning, but I don't think it's a good reason at all to hate this book, at least. So here are the 7 common denominators or chapters. 1, they live below their means, which is like, do not spend money you don't have. I think Jay-Z likes to say, if you can't buy it twice, you can't afford it. Now, I am financially dealing with a large series of small mistakes, I suppose, that I made around 2 years ago, and a big mistake that I made about 1 year ago. And you know, everyone's at their own spot, but hopefully we all are moving, you know what I mean? So I'm not a millionaire. 100 days out of 10, I would rather be a billionaire. And I do know that everyone is one before they are the other, if they ever achieve it. So I was on the phone with my older brother the other night, and I told him I'm still saving up for an apartment. I do actually have like way more than enough, but I want to be making more than enough to sustain it. And he's like,
it's easy for you to save money, Samuel, because you're a stingy piece of shit. And so am I.
It's a skill, and that's why I would argue it's not because we're Jewish. 2, they allocate their time, energy, and money in ways conducive to wealth. They actually pay lots of attention to how much time, money, and energy efficient their decisions are. Do you hate math? I really hate math. But I swear, if you've sold weed or something, if you've sold baseball cards or anything earlier in your life, this literally makes a lot of sense. Math becomes fun when you apply it to something that you find interesting. And why wouldn't you be interested in making more money? At least when you're in a developed country. So long as you have things that are more valuable on the inside. Maybe that's just me. 3, they feel financial independence is more important than displaying high social status. The chapter name, You Aren't What You Drive, correlates with this a tad. And feel free to like pause the video and like tell me what car you drive in the comments. Not that it really matters. I just want to kind of interact with my viewers. Because I drive a Chevy HHR 2009. I've been driving it for 5 years, and let me tell you, to save myself probably hours of research and maybe $1,000 or more, I'm re-listening to this chapter alone at least twice when it goes into the ground and I'm gonna have to buy a new one. It's an amazing chapter. 4, they are not financially catered to by their parents. The author calls this economic outpatient care. Stresses that it's much easier to spend other people's money than one's own. 5, their own children are economically self-sufficient. I think this is the one where the authors talk about why and how it's easier to increase your income than it is to decrease your spending. 6, they're great with targeting new opportunities, or at least marketing opportunities. New market opportunities, let's put it that way. You have to be good at this. Some of the dynamics of this one, of the stuff that they talk about in this one, they remind me of Rich Dad's cash flow quadrant, and like the 4 different quadrants, or whatever they are, and how they're different from each other, how people move from one to the other, what the value is, and how to kind of go about getting the most out of each one that you spend your time in. 7, they chose the right job or jobs. Okay, this chapter reminded me of, like, in Think and Grow Rich, my favorite book of all time. If you don't know that book, get that book. and get to know that book. There's a chapter where the author Napoleon Hill talks about all the upcoming opportunities in advertising. The book was written almost a century ago, but that chapter made me think a little bit about social media platforms today like Anchor, which is basically like YouTube and Instagram except for podcasting. And YouTube and Instagram alone are like very, very modern day versions of stuff that the author in Think and Grow Rich was talking about in that one chapter as well. Not just Anchor, but a huge difference between that chapter of that book and this chapter in this book is that the last chapter of Millionaire Next Door, or one of the last ones, Finding Your Niche, talked about all the upcoming market opportunities at the time, and here's the thing, a lot of them have been or are being like brutally destroyed by more upcoming ones. It's like ideal nowadays at least to kind of just create a job or revenue stream from scratch, like my first principles, which are explained in the next book I'm gonna review, the name of which can be found in my pinned comment. This book is filled to the brim with statistics and their analyses of them pertaining to the 7 common denominators. And the author does categorize, of course, because you can't do a book like this without categorizing things, kind of like the skill level of different people in terms of how easy it is for them to accumulate wealth. This is a little insight, my philosophy on the contents of this book and the merits of using them alone and kind of adhering to what the authors say is right, but what they're not saying could be more right. This book does not put nearly enough emphasis on the prospect of making more money. Instead, it focuses entirely too much on saving. Now, to do what you love and save, I can say from experience, and far more, not just my experience, but so many other people's, that it is better than spending and just living paycheck to paycheck. In terms of wealth building, it is effective to a degree, but that degree is just nothing compared to what it could be if you found something you either do enjoy, unless of course, you're saving and you're going to be spending that, like you're doing that so you can spend it on like property or giant stocks or anything like that. Like otherwise, it's nothing compared to what it could be if you found something you either do enjoy or can see yourself enjoying, then is going to be genuinely profitable, aka more valuable to others in the future. My point here is that saving is not enough. You need to make more. And you don't need money to make money. It does help, but everyone at the top is using money, and they're also using time, energy, creativity, courage, strength, power. I really don't understand why the authors do not stress making more that much. The emphasis that they put solely on budgeting, I'm sure, maybe this is just like the things that I was focusing on and maybe the mindset I kind of had when I was going into the book. But if you get this book, I think it's something to kind of keep in mind. Like if this is really as bad as I think it is in terms of what the book talks about and how much they talk about it, I think that has done lots of damage. More than anything, to the influence that this book has had on the world. It's a very popular book in personal finance. And the thing is, personal finance is a horrible thing in this day and age to just pretend money making should not really be that big of a part of. If you only save, you are thinking so much smaller than you could. And my advice, as someone on a path, at least, is just don't limit yourself by doing one of the two. If you're gonna defend, go on the offense as well. Otherwise, maybe this is just the way I look at it, but it seems like you're just shooting yourself in the foot. And it's only going to hurt more the older this planet gets at this point. Everything except like fundamental physics to me nowadays is up for discussion, however. So let's just keep the discussion going. Quotes. Wealth is not the same as income. If you make a good income and spend it all each year, you are not getting wealthier, you are just living high. They made me another offer to donate in my name the money I earned for my interview to my favorite charity, but I told them, I am my favorite charity. What are the 3 words that profile the affluent? Frugal, frugal, frugal. When I was 11 years old, I saved my first $100 working at a grocery store. It's just like that today. only the numbers of zeros change. The pride of new car ownership is not worth $20,000. Life has its own burdens. Why add excess baggage? He often referred to his car as the last one that would be stolen out of the airport parking lot. Invest in your field. Money will find you. Direction 1. I recommend this book for, honestly, anyone who has spending problems or anyone who is trying to increase their defense, like I was just saying. This is the value, in my opinion, of finding books that are written by or studying extreme takes on things. If you're making a lot of money, I don't think this book is that much of something you would really benefit all that much from, unless of course you spend so much of that money that it is kind of hindering your ability to save the money. So if you need to learn more about saving money, this book is for you. Direction 2. If you like this book, I recommend checking out Unshakable by Tony Robbins, and of course, you know, the classic Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas Stanley and William Danko. There's a link in the description if you guys want to check it out and read the reviews. That and all the other books that I mentioned in this video as well, if you want to check those out too. If there are any other books that you guys want me to check out and review, please let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know if you checked out this book and you liked it, but hey, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, because I don't know why people watch this far into my videos and they don't subscribe, but if you have subscribed and you want to turn up just a notch and turn on that notification bell to receive a notification every time I drop a new video, that would mean the world to me. Thank you guys so much for watching, I really appreciate it. You can find me everywhere and I will see you then.